Hello everybody, today is Tuesday the 26th of March and we are about to close the markets in only about 8 minutes. We are looking at the Spider's 10-minute chart. As you can see, we came into this major resistance from the 25th of March high of day. We didn't even touch it actually, but nonetheless we came into this resistance, and now in the last couple of minutes of trading the Spider is slowly putting in this red candle. And it's had a pretty nice rally today. It gapped up in the morning, and then for the most part it consolidated. Okay, so maybe you would have expected more for it to push up. However, it came into this big resistance and now it's selling off. We'll check on that in a little bit. Now, I did put out on Twitter a little bit of a scalp right here. If I zoom out on Twitter, I told you guys, if you want to take a long right here around 155.60, go ahead and take that trade, go long for a little bit of a scalp. I got the scalp. I put in about 700 shares, and it was putting in this consolidation, which I didn't really like, and at that time the dollar was moving higher, so I made a little bit of money on that. However, if you held it, congratulations, you see how much money you made here. You went from 155.60, and if you were lucky to go all the way to this resistance level, you could have gotten out at 156.20. So congratulations. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Apple. I know everybody's talking about Apple having crossed the 50 MA on the daily. Okay, so it's still holding up. I told you in my last video, as long as Apple is holding above this blue line, above this 50 MA, it's going to hold up just fine. However, today it was weak compared to the markets. The markets across the board were up. The Spider was up 0.7%. The Dow Jones was up 0.7% as well. The Qs were up only 0.47% today, but that's mostly because of Apple, and Apple is not really all that strong today for the intraday behavior of it. Now, in Apple's defense, what I need to say is that Apple did have a little bit of a breakout here, so it needs to pause a little bit. If you look at the volume on Apple, we only had about half, a little bit over half of the volume today that we had yesterday. So Apple is trying to pause for a little bit. So give it some time, let it consolidate a little bit. It needs to hold this 50 MA, okay, for you to even consider going long. Now, considering where this market is going, I would rather short stocks. Okay, so if you want to go for an Apple swing short, I really like this 485 level right here, and I told you about this in the last video. We will have to look at the pattern as it develops. Okay, so we have to see how Apple comes into that level, if it does, for a potential short. Now, I really like trading financials, and I use financials a lot to tell me where the market is headed. And the leading stock that I use for this is JP Morgan. If you look at JP Morgan on the intraday, let's go to the 10-minute chart. JP Morgan, for the most part, the last hour or so, was ripping higher. And why is this important? This is important because JP Morgan was weak the whole entire day. Okay, JP Morgan sold off in the beginning, and then it was consolidating, and it looked like it was putting in this bearish consolidation pattern. It started bleeding lower a little bit here. However, the pattern is now negated as JPM is moving higher. Now, of course, it's putting in that red bar along with the rest of the market. Nonetheless, JPM looks like it wants to break out of this bearish pattern. So this is looking good into tomorrow. So watch for JPM into tomorrow. If this pattern should continue to break, then you should see more upside. Now, as far as resistance here, obviously this 49.32 level on JPM. Let's see if we have any more here. Obviously, if you were to draw maybe a few trend lines, let me just try to do that for you real quick. I really like this here. Okay, so look at that. You have a really nice trend line right here. Okay, you have a touch here, and this one almost touched. So I would consider that a touch as well. So look for that trend line on JPM, okay, into tomorrow. I would have liked for this trend line to be a little bit higher, okay? So you might have to go for the next level if the market is really strong. Go for this one, 49.32, then 49.45, and ultimately you have this 49.65 for tomorrow if JPM should go higher tomorrow and if the markets should be strong. Now, if you follow me on my blog and on Twitter, I kept talking about Bank of America. Bank of America was weak. since Thursday. Compared to the rest of the markets, Bank of America was very weak. Friday, the market was up for the most part. Bank of America was pretty much the only financial that was negative on Friday. Yesterday, Bank of America was weak. And today, what do we have? Bank of America is down by 1%, while all the other financials are green for today, okay? So what is this doing to me? This is telling me that Bank of America will be a potential short swing if it continues like this, okay? If you look at Bank of America on the 60-minute chart, okay, you see a little bit of a bearish base right here developing. It is preliminary because it came into this gap fill right here. It bounced off, okay, so it had a little bit of a support right here, but I will be looking for the most part on the daily chart for Bank of America, so stay tuned. I might be putting out a swing short, okay? And other things I want to talk to you about are retailers. Retailers compared to the rest of the market were a little bit mixed, but there are two that were very weak. The first one is Macy's, and I'm going to have to switch back to the 10-minute chart. As you can see, Macy's for the most part had a really big sell early in the morning. Barely could hold this support area right here, and then it's been steadily going up. However, for the most part, compared to the market, Macy's doesn't look that good at all. Penney, we know that sometimes Penney kind of works in its own little world. Penney, same thing if you look at it. Penney had a really nice interesting update yesterday, but it gave it all up the rest of the day, and we see a lot of selling. That's putting in a little bit of a bullish base right here, maybe going a little bit higher. But if you just zoom out on Penney, you will see that Penney is downtrending, so of course it's weak. Let's look at the energy sector. Two stocks that I want to mention. Exxon Mobil. Exxon Mobil has been very, very strong today, and if I look on the side of my charts, Exxon Mobil is up by 1.25% at 359. The market's about to close in 1 minute. Now Exxon Mobil has been very strong today, so keep it on your radar. If the market should go higher, you can ride this thing. Go into XOM. First, of course, find a little bit of a pullback. Don't chase this thing, but if you see a little bit of a pullback and there is a little bit of a pattern, go for ExxonMobil. It looks very good today. Another stock that kind of trades in its own little world, like Penney, is Valero Energy. Valero Energy has been very strange the past couple of weeks in that nothing could make it go down. Whenever the market was down, Valero either was flat or there was even some upside in it. So of course Valero continues to be strong. Same case as in ExxonMobil. If you see a little bit of a pullback, go for that scalp, but don't go for any longs. Okay, so look at Valero. Valero is very extended on the daily, so I'm not talking about swings. I'm just talking about opportunities to ride a bullish trend. Why? Because this week we are expecting some sort of light volume because of the holiday, the Easter holiday. Now let's go back to the spiders and see where the spiders have closed. I'm going to have to go back to the 10-minute chart. Now I said on Twitter an hour ago that I wouldn't be surprised if spiders close on the 156.27 level because of the resistance here, and we've been seeing that a little bit in the spiders recently, where the chart actually closes right on a support or resistance level. So I was only about 6 cents away from my estimate. Good enough for me. This definitely looks good into tomorrow. We close pretty much on this resistance area right here. If the stock market should be up tomorrow in the morning pre-market, then expect some more upside. Now of course, barring anything out of Europe, any news, because you never know what's going to happen overnight. So I'm very cautious about my swings right now. I would rather go short now than long, and I am doing a little bit of cycle work, and I will try to find something more specific to give you guys, so stay tuned on Twitter and on my website, tradethesestocks.com. However, this week, don't fight the market. The market looks like it wants to go higher. Cyprus seems to have been a sell the news event yesterday, so we're over that. We still don't know what else could come out of Europe, but be cautious. However, expect a little bit more upside because of this light volume holiday week. And as I said, follow me on Twitter. Go to my website, tradethesestocks.com. I give out day trades for free, and today we made a little bit of money on the spiders, and hopefully tomorrow we will be doing the same thing. Take care.